Good morning, everyone. So we are starting our Unit 3 today, which is all about ecology and important ecological principles. Today, we are going to review the Unit 3 standards and objectives. You are going to do a quick engagement activity about mercury poisoning that I will talk through with you on Thursday. You're going to do a terms activity that will help you familiarize yourself with some important ecological terms that we will need to know this unit. And then we will end by doing an activity called What's the Catch, where you will look at different waterways near your house and investigate the level of pollutants in those waterways. All right, so in Classroom, I attached a new folder. So when you go to Unit 3, Ecology Principles, you scroll down, the Unit 3 student guide is right here, and then our student folder with everything in it is right here. When you click on the Unit 3 student plan, it will tell you our two standards for this unit. So we are going to learn about two different phenomena. One is biomagnification, and the other, we're going to learn about the carbon cycle and the different parts of the carbon cycle, and then how carbon can be sequestered or stored in plants. Here is exactly what's going to be on the summative, and we will talk more about these points when the summative gets closer. Here are the activities that we are going to do in class that link to that standard. And if you feel like you just need a little bit more help, if you would like to read about these items, these topics, here are some links for that. So two standards on our next summative. Okay, so definitely look over that on your own time. Keep referencing that if you have questions. So I always like to start a unit out with a phenomena. So something that causes you guys to have questions, something where you make observations and inferences, and something that's definitely tied to the topics that we're talking about that we need to understand in order to figure out why this phenomena happens. So today I'm going to have you guys do this independently. Usually we do this as a class. So when you get into your classroom, there's an assignment called Unit 3, Engagement Minamata Disease. When you click on that, it's a question. There's going to be a video it's a news recording from the 60s. The quality isn't great. The sound cuts out a bit. It's kind of hard to hear at points, but I think you guys will get the gist. There's also points in this video where people and cats are having seizures, so just a little warning if that's hard for you to watch. You can fast forward through those parts. So I want you to listen to this news recording about this event that happened in Minamata, Japan. I want you to just simply list your observations, so just as a class comment, list your observations. Tell me, how does what you viewed relate to your personal experience? So just tie it back to something maybe you already know about mercury or mercury poisoning. If you're a fisherman, you like to fish, you talk about that. And then the last thing is just tell me 3 questions that you have about what you viewed. And I will go over those questions that you have on Thursday. After doing the engagement, and this will be posted as a question in Classroom, here's the link to the video. You are going to complete an activity that will help you become more familiar with our terms for this unit. It's called Ecology Key Terms, is what the assignment is called. When this loads, the first page, there are 2 models that show the level of organization in ecology. So it's important in terms biosphere, biome, ecosystem, community, population, and organism. So I just want you to simply look at these models and come up with your own definitions from these models about what these terms mean. So for example, biosphere, which is up here, it's the Earth labeled biosphere. So biosphere, that is all of the living components on Earth. And as you can see, that these different levels of organizations are kind of like little rushing nesting dolls. So organisms make up populations, populations put together make up communities, so on and so forth. So write your own little definitions, compare the models in this question. For the second part, I'm giving you some terms here that we will use and talk about later this unit. It's important to have those definitions handy. For this table, here's a model of the food web showing autotrophs and heterotrophs. So autotrophs, that means self-nourishment. Those are organisms that have to produce their own food or have to produce their own energy from sunlight. Heterotroph means different nourishment. Those are organisms that can consume things in order to get energy. So in this column under description from the model, you're just going to simply write what does that mean. So for example, producer, you would put plants, or you could say things that get energy from photosynthesis. And then in this column, you're just going to simply give me an example, of an organism that would be in that level. And for this last thing, you are going to click on this Google drawing. Just realized this is already done for you, but the one that you have will be blank. You're going to hit edit, and then you're going to write in the levels from this model. So based on this example here, what they're called. That would be the type column. All right, and then after you do this activity independently, you will jump over to the activity called What's the Catch Exploration. And here's the document. So first take a couple minutes and read this background information about the Clean Water Act and about pollution of waterways, how pollutants get into water. Also, I would like you to make a prediction before you start. Tell me if you think it's safer to eat fish that you catch in local waterways, or if you think it's safer to eat fish that you buy in a supermarket. Just make a simple prediction before you start. There are a few links in this activity. I'll show you what these look like. The first one, click on this. It will bring up a map of Illinois and all of the counties. So we are going to select McLean County just for this example, this question. But if you do not live in McLean County, that is okay. You can click on your county and see what the restrictions are in your county. So I'm going to click on McLean County. It's going to bring up a little pop-up window. I'm going to click on Evergreen Lake. Those are the two options. And then here are two fish that you might be able to find in Evergreen Lake. Then when you click on the special mercury advisory, it will tell you your limits on how many of those fish you should be eating per week, sometimes per month. And then look at the top of the heading here. So women beyond childbearing age and females more than 15 years old, and then pregnant or nursing women and children less than 15 years old, which would be a lot of you guys, a little bit different restrictions sometimes. So explore this table, find those numbers, and then put them on your handout. Where did it go? Here we go. And then the second link, it's a PDF from the Illinois Department of Public Health about mercury and how much we should be eating and different restrictions. So this goes in order. Find the answers to those questions. The next link can also be a little bit tricky to navigate, so I'll show you what this looks like. In this website, you will put your zip code here. So I live in 61704. I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. And then hit go. And this will show you the waterway, the natural waterway, because there might be some different ponds that are man-made near your house. This is the natural waterway closest to my zip code. Then when you click on the waterway, it will tell you the name. And it will also tell you the overall condition. When you see this pop-up window and you scroll all the way down, you'll see a link here that says View Water Body Report. You will need to look at some of this information for the next couple questions. So the name of the waterway is Little Kickapoo Creek. A lot of you guys, yours will be Sugar Creek, which runs near Uhi. Then here is the information that you will need to answer the next couple of questions. Then the wrapping it up portion for this PDF, the last PDF, little trick. so you don't have to read this whole thing because that is obnoxious. If you select on your keyboard Control F, it'll bring up a little pop-up window, and you can click a word or you can start typing a word in this box and it will find it in the PDF for you. So you don't have to read that whole thing. So for example, you might start to look for bioaccumulation and see if you can find it, biomagnification. Then that will start on page 12 in the PDF. So read about the differences between bioaccumulation, biomagnification. Here's the table you need to fill in the source of pollutants. So where does mercury come from? Lead, PCBs, how it affects our bodies in this column. The very last thing, you're going to go back and revisit your initial prediction that you wrote on the first page, and then answer or maybe change your prediction, or maybe your prediction is right and you can just keep your prediction the same. Tell me evidence from this activity of why you think that is true. And then the last one, the reasoning, you're just going to explain. So that'll just be a little baby CER. Don't worry about complete sentences, first person, and all that stuff. This is just an end of activity wrap up. Okay, so really quick reviewing. You need to first complete the Unit 3 engagement Minamata disease with a video. Tell me your responses to the observations, connections, and questions. Then complete the ecology key terms activity, and then turn that in. And then complete the what's the catch exploration, and then turn that one in as well. And I need these all before class on Thursday. So make sure you submit, and we'll talk about it on Thursday. Also, let me know if you have questions. You can always email me if you have questions.